What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on D's Analysis. We're going to be looking at MSTR, Bitcoin, and a couple of different charts. So as you can take a look here, we're sitting at 426.4, and here on the weekly, you can see that we are starting to get some kind of bounce off of this key level of support and resistance, which happens to be this golden zone that we've been speaking of for an extended period. This golden zone goes all the way down to this area down here. As you can see here, we are getting a bounce off that 618, which is a key level. This was a bearish pull, but we are trying to make it as bullish as possible. Hopefully it can continue up the sequence to the 786, to the 886, and eventually past the 1 and continue the move to the upside. Eventually making it to the midline of this channel, hopefully. We'll see, of course, if MSTR can continue the trend. It is looking pretty bullish as we are getting that wick off of this zone. So when you look on a smaller time frame, you can see here off of this fib level that we actually bounced off the 382 and halfway to the 0.5, and now we're trying to make our way up. Hopefully the next candle will turn out to be a nice green candle. Once we break this 437, we should have a clean move up to around 452, hopefully breaking these highs over here at around 456 and continue that momentum higher. This is a good sign right now. I know it's still a red day, but seeing this reject off of this level back upward is a nice start. And we are seeing Bitcoin push up higher, sitting at 119,948 at the moment, which should allow MSTR to have some breathing room to finally continue up higher. But at the same time, we do still have this key level of resistance here at around 446 to around 437 at the moment. When you look here on the weekly, you can see the SMAs are starting to catch up to price. Not completely though, it's still only sitting at 366 and price is still roughly $60 above. And here on the daily, you can see that we actually came into contact with this, which we actually spoke about, where we were saying potentially we could see some kind of retracement to the 382 or to the 0.5, and that might be in confluence with this 20-day SMA, which is exactly what happened. And now we're potentially getting a bounce. Hopefully we can continue the momentum and break through this key level of resistance. Now on the 4-hour, we do have a key level of resistance above our head, sitting on this 24-hour moving average. So this should act as a level of resistance temporarily until we can finally break it. And like I said, hopefully breaking above this wick and getting a clean move to around 450 to 454. When you look at the Bollinger Bands, it also was confluenced together, as we did find a bounce off of the blue band, which is the middle band here. So maybe we can continue the move to the red band, which is the outer band, and continue to hug it on the way up. On the 4-hour, we are still in a more bearish trend. As you can see, we're underneath the blue moving average, which is the middle line, which indicates that we could potentially touch the green band, which is the bottom band. Hopefully not. Hopefully we can reclaim this blue band and continue back to the red here on the 4-hour Bollinger Band. Bitcoin here on the weekly is looking pretty solid. As you can see, we got this nice engulfing candle, then we kind of got some rejection, closed back within this key level, and now we are playing with the level again, but we are sitting above it currently, but we still have 5 days left on the week. And here on the daily, we actually just closed back above it, which is a very bullish sign, as we are holding above this key upward sloping trend line that was established back in 2021, connecting the all-time highs to this recent level here. So now this opens up the idea of us pushing down, retesting, and potentially bouncing up higher. We do need to break these wicks here, and we do need to break these wicks here if we want to see a push to the next level. But at this moment, we will be seeing some kind of rejection in this zone, I would imagine. We'll see if price pushes and how it reacts, but I would imagine that we get some kind of resistance up in this area over here. We were saying that we have some kind of bull flag or bull pennant being formed. As you can see, it looks like we are trying to break out of it. Not sure if it's a confirmed breakout, but it is looking pretty bullish. As you can see, we closed within these wicks here. Pretty much the highest daily close that we've had so far in Bitcoin's history, sitting at 120 roughly. And we'll see how this next candle reacts. Hopefully it can be a pretty bullish one, but this is setting up to be pretty nice right now. Like I said, if you were to measure out this bull flag or bull pennant from this area, and then you take the measured move, you're going to be sitting at around the mid-level, around that 128 mark to around 130. And if you were to take it a little bit higher to this mark up here, then we could be sitting at around 130, 133, or something around that area. Overall, the structure is incredibly bullish though. And when you take a look on the monthly candle, this sideways price action is pretty much non-existent. It means absolutely nothing when you zoom out on the larger time frame. So I do have those two theories that I was talking about, where I could see us topping somewhere along this midline, depending on where it happens. It could be higher. So if it happens in January 2026, it could be 156, including a wick, maybe 160, 170 with a wick and then a wick back down. The other one is the very explosive one to the top of the channel. Those are my two outlooks. I'm thinking we either top somewhere in this region. It's a wide region because I really don't know, but it's based off of this mid line of the channel more than anything, not a specific number. And then the other one is that very, very bullish, optimistic blow off top kind of scenario that we've seen in 21 and 17. Tether dominance is consistently pushing down, consistently tapping this level. Eventually we are going to break it. This was the most bearish close that we've had. As you can see, we had a lot of wicks right here, and this was pretty much going to be the key level that we had to close underneath, which we just did. And now we have the major level, which is sitting around this white line over here. If we can get a close underneath there, I think we can see the low fours, maybe even 3.9. And then it's going to be a determination if that's rotating into ETH or Bitcoin or any other altcoins, as we have been talking about ETH Bitcoin recently. And if I pull up ETH USD, you can see that it has been absolutely ramping up. But at the same time, ETH is coming to a decision point where we're either going to potentially reject off of this key level. We have a downward sloping trend line here that we've had multiple touches off of. We're going to either bounce off of that for a move down, or we can actually potentially get a close outside of it, retest, and now ETH is on a whole nother breakout price discovery kind of mode. So we'll see where it takes us, of course. I'll keep you guys updated, of course, like I always do. And when we go to ETH Bitcoin, this is kind of how we'll be measuring ETH versus Bitcoin. This close was incredibly bullish as we closed at 0.2, and now it looks like we're retesting this key level, which happens to be a golden zone to the bearish side, to the downside. So when you pull that here, you can see that this is that 0.5 to 618, which is indicating that we could push up to this level and get rejected. But what we just did was we actually pushed up to that level and we closed above it, and now we're acting as support off of that level, which is incredibly bullish for ETH to potentially continue to outperform Bitcoin, at least in the short term, before potentially reaching this downward sloping trend line that has been established way back here from September 2022. So we'll see what happens when we get there, if it ends up being a rejection or a breakout, if we even make it there, because Bitcoin could potentially start to outperform ETH at the same time. We never know. But we'll be looking at all of those indicators to keep ourselves up to date and know where the market is kind of headed and have a sense of direction. That's pretty much all I have for you guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe on these videos. Helps the algorithm. I'll see you guys in the next one.